So let us begin with this panel discussion, and I'm so happy I'm being with both of them. Personally, I know both of them so very well that we are part of Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industries together. So basically, she is a visionary, and the thoughts what she has is like quite revolutionary, and I think children would love to hear her. And Renita Ben, I don't need to trust me, I don't need to give any introduction because Redbricks is something which is like already an experiential learning school. So I'm very happy to have you, and let us begin. So basically this year the theme is transforming education, okay, for which children definitely tried writing essays and their idea of having dream education. But according to you, transforming education practices, I think we can begin with you because of an institution. You can share some real good practices what is already happening in Redbricks.
Hello everyone. Wish you all a very good morning. Really happy to see children and parents together because usually I talk to educators more, so I'm very happy to talk to children today. First of all, my gratitude to Megha ji, Sanil ji, Tejal Ben for inviting me today. I love that it is such a cozy environment where we can exchange ideas and thoughts, and I love that children are managing and conducting the whole thing, so thank you. Coming back to your question about transforming education, so when I was thinking about the theme, the first thing that came to my mind is as children, as parents, the first question we should ask ourselves is what is the purpose of education, right? Why do I go to school? Why do I send my child to school? And I feel that is the heart of everything that happens after that. All of you may agree that today in our society, when you ask people what is the purpose of education, सब अच्छी बातें करते हैं, मुझे तो पायलट बनना है, ये बनना है, I want to be a great human being. But at the end of the day, what I've seen is when children get older especially, it becomes all about marks, it becomes all about entrance exams and getting into good colleges, period. I'm not saying that's not important. I think that is the practical reality of the society we live in. Hence, very important that you score well, very important that you do well on entrance exams, get into colleges. But what I believe is that sometimes that takes away from the real purpose of education. What I believe the real purpose is to really just learn deeply, and be excited to learn all your life. I did my master's in education 2 years back in my late 30s with a young child, with a pandemic, with a full leadership responsibility. I never cribbed about it. At 12 in the night or 3 in the night, I was having my classes because it was conducted from the US, but I loved it. And I think that is what is important. If you can really love learning, in today's world, knowledge you can get from anywhere, right? Google का ज़माना भी जा रहा है, तो Chat GPT आ रहा है that will write essays for you. But what is important is your ability to think. What is important is your ability to really apply what you're learning. And I always say, I did my BSc in physics and I was a topper in my class, but my dad used to always make fun of me कि तू तो कुछ apply ही नहीं कर पाती है. ये पंखा नहीं चलता है, तुझे पता नहीं क्यों नहीं चलता है, ये टीवी में प्रॉब्लम है, तुझे कुछ पता नहीं है. And I did physics and electronics, by the way. So I said, I'm sorry. He said, how did you top your exams? I said, because I was great at whole memorization. And that's what mattered. And I believe that has been the problem in education. So what we are trying to do is to really help children learn deeply, to really be able to enjoy learning. And how do we do that? I will quickly give a formula. I think we're all kind of SciKnowTech students, so I'm sure you love formulas, right? Science, math, etc. So I kind of created my own yesterday night. Nothing, it's not rocket science, but I said, I thought that you need 3 C's and 1 R. So I'm going to just tell you what my formula is, right? But I want you to guess, what do you think are my 3 C's for education? Any parents or children can guess what would be the C's be? Communication, okay.
Curiosity.
Yes, that was my first C. Curiosity.
Creativity.
Creativity is my second C. Great. Okay, and there's a third C. Communication, I agree, but in my formula, there's another C.
Character, I believe.
Like you're close.
Critical thinking.
Close. No, not close. Close to the first one. Compassion.
Yes.
Right? For me, three C's that are most important today are curiosity, creativity, and compassion. Curiosity, I don't need to talk much. I'm sure you're all curious children, and that's why you are here. And I'm sure Megha ma'am is developing curiosity in you. But my point with curiosity is have a questioning mind and have an observing mind. Everything you observe, not just a fan, but even human beings, how they talk, how they behave, how animals, everything around you is giving you some insight into how the world works. Be observant, be curious, ask lots of questions. And don't worry about asking wrong questions. When I was in school, I used to be like, ma'am, maybe I know the answer, and then I would be scared that others would laugh at me if I ask a wrong question. But I think as children, what I'll tell you is don't worry about asking questions. No question is a bad question. Any question is a good question. And I feel that's important. And I think as parents and as educators, if they are here, what I always tell them is let's create a safe environment. A psychologically safe environment where children are free to question and don't feel ridiculed or don't feel as if they're disrespecting us, right? Because they are not trying to disrespect, they're just curious about the world and trying to understand the world. The second C, the creativity, I think is extremely important. I don't know how many of you know about our brain, but do you know we have two parts of the brain? How many of you know we have kind of two parts of the brain? I mean, brain is very complex. I'm simplifying it, right? So there's a left brain and there's a right brain. Do you know what the left brain is responsible for? These are amazing kids. Critical thinking, logical thinking, right? Your math, your numbers, your even language. What is the right brain responsible for? I'm curious to know if you know the answer to that.
Yes, Arya. Communication.
Okay.
Yes, Yugandhar.
And for our creative thinking.
Absolutely, wonderful. The right brain is more intuitive, more imaginative, more creative, right? And what has happened traditionally in education, in our societies, is that we've always given more importance to the left brain.
Yes.
Right? We've always said, math mein marks aane chahiye, language mein aane chahiye, right? Have we said art mein marks aane chahiye, sports mein marks aane chahiye?
Scoring
Right?
subjects.
Scoring, those are right. Those are just easy subjects, and those are extracurricular. They are not a part of my curriculum. And I feel that is something that we need to change because brain science is showing that to be successful, even academically, you need to have both parts of the brain working together, what we call an integrated brain. And even if you want to be a good scientist or a doctor or a mathematician, you need a strong right brain, which is the imaginative creative side, right? So how do you do that? I'm sure a lot of you do many things to do that. The obvious answer is play sports, do arts, do hobbies, don't only look at academics. But I would also say that focus on the process and not the product of learning. What is the product of learning? सीखने के बाद क्या मिलता है आपको? मार्क्स मिलते हैं, कॉलेज में एडमिशन मिलता है, वाहवा मिलती है, बहुत बढ़िया किया, या क्रिटिसिज्म मिलता है कि इतना खराब किया पेपर में, वो सब की चिंता मत करो. What you should focus on is the process of learning. While I am learning, am I thinking, am I making mistakes? Mistakes are good. Am I making mistakes? Am I pushing myself out of the comfort zone? If I am trying to be in the comfort zone just to impress my teacher, just to impress my parent, then I'm not growing. I will grow if I push myself. If I think differently, सब ये same चीज बोल रहा है, मेरा दिमाग कुछ और बोल रहा है. Try and do that, and try and voice that. That's when real creativity comes out. And therefore, to parents, I say, appreciate that in your children. Sometimes we only appreciate the product and that gets reinforced. When we actually start looking at the small things, like yesterday you were not able to do this, but today you did this, right? This was a great mistake you made. What did you learn from it? Have those dialogues with children and then they will get the message that risk-taking is important. Thinking differently is helpful, it will not put me out of the box. And the third thing about compassion, I'm sorry I'm taking a little time, I just want to close the loop. Compassion, I would just say, we should just go back to our roots, right? Go back to what Gandhi, Aurobindo, Krishnamurti are saying, and you will say head, heart, and hands, right? The spirit is very important. And our Eastern philosophy, I would just say spend time with your grandparents, and you will develop it. Today, the world is becoming extremely intolerant, extremely individualistic, lot of competition. What we really need is to be able to understand and accept each other, even if we are different, because all of us are different, and to be able to then work together, collaborate together. And that's why involve yourself in team projects. Stop competing with your friends, but say, how can I work with my friends and do some amazing projects? And especially, how can I work with someone who is so different than me? Because then you will learn the most. And my last one R, now guess the R. Because 3 C's are not enough.
Resilience.
Yes, resilience. Resilience. There's a famous historian, Yuval Noah Harari, who's written beautiful books and given beautiful talks. And he says, he was asked, what do children need for the future? And he said 2 things. Ability to learn, which we talked about, and mental strength, which is resilience. Why do you need resilience? World is getting more and more complex. Change is constantly going to happen. How do you adapt to constant changes? How do you not give up in the face of challenges and changes? Like, look at the pandemic and what happened. We have to become resilient to really face the kind of complexity that we see around us. And here I want to talk more to parents than the children, because I feel as a society the way we are nurturing our children, somewhere I think they are not developing enough resilience. Because we want to provide them all the comforts and all the protection, sometimes we are not allowing them to experience negative emotions. And I have seen that a lot. Parents enter even into children's friendship issues. And I said, when I was growing up, my mother knew nothing about the problems I had with my friends. I had to solve it myself. And so let children solve it themselves. Yes, you can be a guide. Yes, you can dialogue with them. But don't enter as a problem solver or a superhero to solve their problem for them by actually talking to the kids and other parents and the teachers and solving it for them. So I would just say let them make their mistakes, but most importantly, let them experience negative emotions. Negative emotions are important in life to grow as resilient beings. Anxiety, fear, stress, isolation, loneliness, who doesn't experience it? And if they don't experience it in childhood, how are they going to cope with it when they grow old and they start experiencing it? So I would say that is one big advice to the parent community. So the 3 C's and 1 R is my long answer to how do you transform education.
All right. Actually, you tried answering my second question also, which was overall holistic development for a child. So I think Kusum, I am so happy that it is going to be a very, very different kind of answer from her side, because I know that she's a completely different setup and completely different kind of people. So I think let's hear out from her also in terms of transforming education and also overall development of the child.
Thank you. I think because she is into the daily process of this education setup we have, she has covered most of the points, but I would say something from my experiences, what I have gone through. I would start with an example. When we were in college, we would go, in school, college, we go for a picnic. So one of my, there are some students, everybody loves to go for a picnic, but there will be 2-3 people who will not go. So in my class, my cousin was there. She did not go for a picnic. I observed for 4 years, she did not go for a picnic. Now, I see after 30 years, she is a loner. Though she is a professor in BITS Pilani. But in life, she has not been able to communicate. either with friends or with people, and at present as I see her, she is trying to, she called me after 30 years. By now she realized what she had lost in life. So in holistic development of a child, it is very important to communicate, to do everything that is being done in the school. You people are so blessed, your children are getting you to the SciKnowTech, getting you to different places. So I feel, today also at this age, when someone invites me a program, I never make it a point, who is the other guest? Where have they kept the function? No. Is it a small place? Is it a small room? Is it a big room? How much is the audience? That is not important. At present also for me. For me, what is important is someone is inviting me. I respect that. I value that. And even if there are 10% people in the audience, what I say, they should be able to understand what I say. And I feel that even if it affects one person or makes some difference in their life, that is very important. Similarly, in the development of a child should be able to participate in everything. We have seen Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, scientist. You all know about him. I don't have to tell you about him. He was a very good Veena player. So what does that say about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam? That means there was a right balance of left and right brain. Yes. The way his parents made him or the way he brought up himself. We know his background, the kind of background he grew up by throwing newspapers in people's houses. That's how he earned money. So, and how he brought up himself, how he educated himself. So that was the right mix of two brains. Now we know about it, you know it, parents know it. So today parents work on it. But as peer pressure or as pressure for parents, we tell our children, you do science, you do maths. Maybe not in this group, but there are, you are into science, you must be interested in science, so that's why you are here. I want to give you one data where I want through you people or through this respectable organizers that 42% of children in 10th standard fail in maths and science. They cannot go ahead, they cannot pass. There are certain people who are, this is especially people who are in Gujarati medium. You know, their books, science and maths, they are so difficult and they are just not interested in science and math. And our government needs to develop a policy where their books can be made simple, where they learn basic mathematics, so that practically what is applicable to them, as she said about fan and TV, they should know what is iron about, what is the mic about. They should know simple things, the daily science around them. There is no need of telling them about satellites. At my home, only my mail came to me that my daughters are not passing 10th standard. That is how I researched about it. And I said, what is the problem? Can you tell her to come to me? They got those big books. They are so thick and they are talking about satellites, they are talking about ACs, they are talking about big things. I said, they cannot do it. It's very difficult for them to pass. Those children who are not inclined towards science and maths, they need things to be made simpler for them. I think, madam, you can take it to the authorities and if certain decisions can be made. It's my request to you. As we have already talked about holistic development, and I think it is very important. You are into science. We should you people should read about different famous people in the world. That's very important. Today, you know, at our time we have to find the book. Go to the library, scan the books. We find one, we don't find another one. but you people have everything at the fingertip. You should know about whom to read. That's very important. Madam, I think if you can give them a list of books,
Yes.
they should read,
They
so
already-
that they know, what that particular person, that scientist, that person, APJ Abdul Kalam, or anybody, Newton sat under a tree and he thought about it. Why does it fall? Gravity. So he researched about it. Simple things, observation of very simple things. In our thousands of years back, we had Gurukuls in India. Have you watched Mahabharata or Ramayana? Huh? Yes. So Bhagwan Krishna, you must have seen, he goes to Sandipini, right? So they would go to the ashram for 15 years. There they would have a complete holistic development in those ashrams. They would have gurus for every subject, for archery, for everything, for horse riding, for science, for technology, whatever they had at that time. So they would have different teachers. They would learn almost everything. Then they would specialization in one. But in between, our education system changed after 47. But now we are at a stage where we can think of new things. So I think the kind of system you are in, you people, the 2023, you are very blessed children. You have educated parents, you have parents who have money, they have knowledge, then you have people like Megha ma'am, people like her, people like Madam Vasavda, who have studied from different education institutes in the world. They know what is happening latest. And the biggest thing is that we are now realizing what was our education system thousands of years back. We are going back to that. And the world is also looking at that system. What was so good in that system that it continued for thousands of years? But you must be knowing our education system, of course it is good in certain ways, but we need to improve. There is always a scope for improvement. The best doctors in USA are from India. They are trained in India. The scientists in USA, they are from India. Maximum are from India. So that means, in USA, they do calculation by computers or mobile. Our Indians can do that mentally. Today also I do my calculations on paper, and despite that my mobile is in front of me, because our brains are wired like that. You will do the same with your mobile. So our Indians, wherever they are in the world, they do calculation of lakhs and crores mentally. That's how they were trained in the school. So our system, but in certain things, I think our emotional quotient, as she explained, we should be able to cope up with failures. That's very important. Everybody fails in life, somewhere or the other. I think if anybody has heard Anupam Kher's interview, he said he failed in 10th and his father took him for dinner to some restaurant in Shimla. Right? So that doesn't mean we have to fail.
Just to go for dinner.
Just to go for dinner.
I think I would like to wind this part, what you said already. So, you already started with my next question, which was policy, that how, I wanted to ask both of you, but you already finished. So I'll wind it up for children. That she said that you all are blessed kids. You have no idea that underprivileged children who are into public schools have no access to good education. Their education or their textbooks basically
are such that they are not able to, cope up with that much syllabus. So if they have to pursue math and science, if they have to pursue simple things in math and science is very important to survive, correct? So if it has to be, the core textbook should be designed where it is already there in IGCSE, where they can appear for a core examination and get C, correct? So they cannot get more than C if they opted for core, but they are all basic concepts what a child can understand. So similar textbook could be introduced for possibly Gujarat board and possibly the public schools here in Gujarat or overall in India. Now, ma'am, you talked quite a bit about 3C and 1R and all that, but I think I would really like to add that for good education, I think the first thing what we need to do is parents' mindset. It needs to get changed. Unfortunately, trust me, in my case, it's a graded program what I'm offering. From 9th and 10th, children are still writing so many papers. It's not like other after-school programs where they are writing, just like donkeys, but at least 50% of it. And my both batches have excelled. I should say that all of them are above 95, okay? But we have not put it anywhere. So it's like, it's not about giving pressure to a child, but I guess, a child who is learning with full ability, learning with full exposure, and learning the whole process. That is something very important. See, for the process, I think SciKnowFest, what we do, ma'am, we are trying to, for 1.5 months, we undergo the whole process of making up a project, whether it is a research-based project or a model, which is a working model. But for me, the process is important. So it's like, it's such a beautiful thing that for the career options also, as you rightly said, my Earth, who is in grade 10 now, trust me, he is too good in math, science, economics, any subject you pick up, he already chooses 8 subjects in IGCSE. But he is a footballer. And then he decided that, okay, I do not like sports medicine, but I am definitely eligible to go for sports management. So now exploring universities for sports management. So children, do what you love to do in life. You will definitely enjoy every bit of your learning. And they already know that. We need to convey it to parents that let them do what they want to do. Okay? Trust me, it's like, give them that best time. Suppose tomorrow we have a sound session where Ridhaba is joining us, Ridha Desai. And he's like, he's going to be showing cinematics to them. Where it's like, how soil, just dances with the all A for 8th graders. So it's like, how sound waves actually work. So my thing is that the final, only last 2 minutes, both of you, I would say that if you have to just wind it up in 30 seconds, how do you say that? What is the best thing which should be introduced as a policy?
Before that, I would like to substantiate the fact that it's SciKnowFest. As she said that as Renita ma'am said that the outcome is important, but not that much. Process is more important. So you would have observed that for last 4 years, whenever we have been doing SciKnowFest, which is the carnival, we never judge the projects. It's the process. We never give prize that, this is the best project. Every project is a good project. The whole process, what they undergo for almost 1.5 months, as she said, they start with pen and paper and gradually make up their own. And we are very clear that they need not be flashy projects. We don't want them to, go to a marketplace, buy 1,000 rupees of kits and, impress people. They should impress people by showing the research aptitude and the whole process. So that is very well said, ma'am.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I think I'm just learning so much today. But just to build on what they said, I think one wish that I have for policies, how can we make education stress-free for children? And building on what ma'am was saying about the quality of textbooks, the content. But I just want to say I visited Finland a few years back to study their education system. I don't know if you know, but it's considered to be the best in the world.
Yes.
And I went there thinking कि कितना सारा पढ़ाते होंगे. But I realized that what they do is half of what we do here. Children have shorter school days. After every session, children have 15 minutes of outdoor playtime. And no exams until high school, end of high school, one exam. And I feel like there's so much to learn from Finland and other countries as to how children can still do great without the pressure cooker system that we maybe are creating here. So,
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
I have done my doctorate on experiential learning, and Finland was, one thing. So I've heard that by 2025,
Yeah.
Finland is not going to have a physical school at all.
Oh, really?
They are going to be completely studying in the gardens
This is
and
in
outside the
engineering
school.
of management.
Yeah. So it's one of the best systems. So if they'll go to the garden, they can learn biology, physics, chemistry, environment, everything. Like that. So
It's possible. They do a lot of hands-on and real-life connected learning.
right.
Yes.
I want to tell children here that you should have the capacity of problem solving. That's very important. Even if you are at home, there is a simple. Your mother tells you, "I have this problem." How you can handle that problem and how you can solve that problem. That's very important. This will come handy to you everywhere. In your office, in your business, in school, dealing with people. Suppose you are on a chaotic crossroads. There is so much of traffic. How you can handle and be a problem solver. Daily, what we are seeing daily. I want to give you an example of Sam Pitroda. Has anybody heard about him? He's a technocrat who has 120 patents to his name. In 1960s, he and his wife went to America. She had a sari, but she did not have a blouse because they had left the place all of a sudden. So to stitch a blouse, he stitched one. He was PhD in physics. So she said, "I don't have a blouse, I cannot come to the party." So he said, "Okay, let me give it a try. Let me try to stitch one." So a technocrat, a scientist who had no idea about cloth making this anything, he stitched a blouse. What it is written in his book, but what I learned from that is that application of mind. Wherever you apply your mind, you can do everything. Boys can cook in the kitchen, girls can do everything, and everybody can do everything, but it is question of applying the mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think with this, we can actually put an end to this fantastic panel discussion. Okay, you have a question?
No, I just want to add one thing as a parent, ma'am.
Sure.
That just one thing, that introspection. At the end of the day, you just speak to your children, or just weekend, you just casually speak to them. What do you think? Introspection of day-to-day mistakes, day-to-day progress, day-to-day success, which is very important. Marks आज कम आए थे, it's fine, but you just understand अच्छा क्यों आए? Let's sit together. Let's understand. Reaching to your whatever goals you have in your life is important, but the process is very important. Which I always tell my children, process enjoy करो. Marks आएंगे because we know your capability. Each and every child in this world, each and every person in this world is unique. So understand your uniqueness. And as a parent, I want to tell you कि जब तक वो plant soft है तब तक mold कर सकते हैं. They are like a sponge. Whatever you give at home, they just look for you. Just बोलने से कुछ नहीं होगा, ये कर लो, but you are not with them, you are just with your cell phone and you are working, you are just be in your world. They won't be able to understand you. But yes, your work is important, you just make them understand, okay, this is my work time, let me finish my work, I'll be with you. So this is the most important, कि sponge को उनको, we just need to give them little time.
Very well said.
And that couple is the ideal one because I don't see that their children have been with us for last at least 4-5 years, and each and every field trip, each and every such expert session, both of them are present.
Wow.
So that's what matters. Spending time with children is very, very important.
Yeah. So I think with this we put an end to this. And my children have made such beautiful certificates for you as a speaker. Shravya, beta, aap.